welcome back to another episode of Surround Yourself with Greatness. And today I'm really excited because I'm joined by a wonderful guest who's doing amazing things, empowering people and really helping them to just increase their financial literacy, but more importantly, learn a skill that will literally not just change their life, but most likely generations to come. Danesca, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me, Kuda. How are you?
I'm doing great. So, Danesca and I were part of a community for options traders.
Mhm.
And, she joined the community when I had already been a member. And I could see when she joined, she was really eager to learn. She was always super active in the community, asking questions. And, she was really exemplifying the behavior that shows that this person is going to be successful. And I remember we met up during a live trading session in Charlotte, right? I believe.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I got to kind of like connect with her when she was there. But I didn't really get to connect with her deeply because, everybody was busy. We're all trying to learn. We're all trying to trade and make money. But I
Mm-hmm.
just kept a close eye and just continued watching and just seeing her growth. And I'll tell you what, in the past 6 months, I've seen her go from, not being super confident as a trader to being this beast where she's just like on top of the world. So I really wanted to bring her on this show for a couple of things. Number one, for her to tell you her story, because her story is very inspiring. So we're going to start from the beginning.
Okay.
And the reason why we want to do that is I want you guys who are watching right now to understand that your present is not your future. It's just a season that you're going through. And that season, like other seasons, will end. But it takes a couple of things. It takes you committing to the change you want to see, but it also takes consistency in really following through the
You're
strategy
frozen.
and the direction that you want to follow. So Danesca, how you doing? What I would be curious in learning is what was your life like before you started trading, and what was the trigger that made you say like, hey, I want to test out this trading thing?
Okay. So I'll start with I am a financial coach as well. So I'm a certified financial coach. Before I became a certified financial coach, I was in a lot of debt. A lot. I had $40,000 of debt. Maybe to some people that's not a lot, but when you're a single mom and you have two children and you're doing it by yourself, that's a lot of money to have more debt than what you had financially. I think I was making like $35,000 a year with $40,000 of debt,
How
right?
far back was that?
That was maybe 5 years ago, 6 years ago. 6 years
Okay.
ago. So I was just going through it, had sleepless nights, was taking care of my kids, would bring them to work. I was in the healthcare field. That's why me and Josh like have a lot in common. So in the healthcare field,
So you're also a nurse, like
a
an
nurse,
ER
yes.
nurse?
A nurse for urgent care. And then I became a manager to that urgent care. And then I
Right.
oversaw 2 locations at the same time as still having my nursing skills. So I was still stepping as a nurse, but then I was the manager too. Crazy. Anyway, so had my kids struggling financially, and people didn't know my business. I was also going through a divorce, which made it even harder to get rid of debt. If anything, I incurred more debt because of that. So long story short, I decided to invest into myself to gain the knowledge and the tools to get out of debt. And that's when I started Dave Ramsey's program. And I forgot how many thousands I had to pay. I think it was a 2,000 at that time. But when you have nothing but debt and you don't know how to manage your finances, that's a lot of money when you don't got it, right?
Right.
$2,000 just to learn how to get out of debt. And Dave Ramsey don't play. He don't take credit cards. He don't take loans. You got to pay cash for it. It has to come out of your debit account or you wire it or something. He don't play. He don't want nobody paying for his course on debt. So couldn't use a credit card. couldn't get a loan, had to pay cash for it, which took me a while just to save up to pay for that. So did that. Once I did that, once I just wouldn't sleep. Why? I'm stressed out anyway. I can't sleep anyway. So I'm just going to gain all of the knowledge I can, breaking night, working in the morning, taking care of my kids. Spent hours just learning. Okay, I bought 3 of his books. It was Total Money Makeover, His Debt Free Story. I forgot the name of that book. So read those books and started applying everything from his course. Like literally, I would read it, apply it. I got
So what
rid
are
of.
some of the concepts you read and you applied?
So I got rid of credit cards. I cut them up and I wouldn't use it. I started couponing. I cut off all my subscriptions. Whatever subscriptions I had, cut them off, out the window. Eating out the window. I was cooking every single day. Just it's basic skills that you already have, but you're not applying them, right?
Right.
And so then I started the debt snowball, which is listing your debts from smallest to greatest, not by interest rate, but like which is the one that you have less on.
Yeah, and
And
then
then
you pay that off first, and
then you put it on the other card. So you pay that off. If you pay like $200 a month on one card, then you take that 200 that you paid from that one card
to
and
pay
then
the
you
next one.
pay the next one plus whatever payment that was. So now you have $300, and then however much money just keeps on accumulating, and then you just pay off your debt faster. So I did that, and then I started selling things, and did garage sales, I did everything that I could apply. I applied, and then I used my kids as a tool too. I told them to help me stay accountable, and if mommy has this
Wow.
list, I wouldn't play. Mommy has this list. We're going to the grocery store. Don't let mommy buy stuff that she doesn't need. Let's go by the list. And they
So
will
talk
always,
about being super vulnerable.
yeah. Man, my kids know everything. My kids, thank God, they already know how to budget. They know
Wow.
how to budget already. They know how to look at things. They know how much money they got in their pocket, and they know how much money they can spend. And I show them that since little because I'm like, debt feels like a ton of weight, and you don't want that. So let's show you how to make money with what you got and how you can grow it.
Wow.
So I did that, and I paid off almost 40,000 in 16 months, and then I was completely debt free. So I'm grateful for that.
Congratulations. $40,000 paid off in 16 months.
Got completely
That's
out of
wonderful.
that. Yeah. And
It
then
takes a lot of discipline to do that, because for some people they would probably accumulate another 40,000 in
mm,
16 months.
mm. Yeah, so I did that. And I just kept on applying the discipline. So after I did that, God started speaking to me that I was actually doing that when God spoke to me in a dream and told me that I was gonna lose my job and become an entrepreneur. And I was like, there's no way. No way. I do.
So God was telling you to leave being a nurse to become an entrepreneur.
No. He told me I was going to get fired.
Oh, wow.
I was going to get the pink slip. Okay. He showed me.
So you did get fired?
I did. I got the pink slip. So this is what happened. I had this dream that I'm walking into work and I'm trying to clock in because as a nurse or a manager, I was both. I was managing the urgent care and a primary care location. You still had to clock in and out. So I had to clock in, and my badge wouldn't work. It wouldn't let me clock in. And I'm like, why is this not letting me clock in? Like I was looking at the badge, and then I noticed it was just half of the badge. It wasn't even the whole one. And so I was just like, what's going on? And out of nowhere, I saw these huge pair of scissors come from the ceiling and cut my badge. And then
So this wasn't the dream?
this isn't the dream. This is like a Daniel Joseph type craziness. And so it went from there to another dream. And in the other dream, I'm in front of people speaking and then getting paid for it. Who would have thought? Right. And then I'm just like, no way. I'm not, I wrote it down because I'm obedient. I'm going to write it down. But inside of me, I was just like, I can't even. God, you know how I feel about entrepreneurship. I was not anymore, so afraid of entrepreneurship because I just know it takes a lot. Plus, you don't have that security of like a consistent paycheck. But then God
Right.
was also showing me that there's not security in a consistent 9 to 5, especially with what we're going through now with recession and inflation. There's not true security in any of that. He's the true source and he's the true security. And as long as you have him, wherever you go, you'll be fine. So
Right.
from
Right.
there, I started no, I worked for a Christian organization called Campus Crusades for Christ, and I was an executive assistant when I got the pink slip. What they started doing was they started cutting positions, and they wanted just the people who had longevity, even though I did, but they had older managers that have been there even longer than me that can oversee multiple locations. And so they needed to get rid of managers that didn't have that
We're trimming the
longevity.
fat.
Yeah. So I was one of those people. So I started working for a Christian organization called Campus Crusades for Christ. I was an executive assistant there. And I did that for about 2 years. And then guess what? The same thing. COVID hits. Who has to go? The assistant has to go. So then I'm like, everywhere I go, there's like no security. God, what are you doing? I don't understand. So then from there, I met a man who I fell in love with. We're not together anymore, but fell in love with him. And he just showed me a lot about being an entrepreneur. And when I told him that they're about to cut my position, he's like, let's start a business. And I'm just like, let's do it. Because now at this point, I'm like, I'm not going to have this job anyway. I might as well start working and learning how to become an entrepreneur because that's what God showed me. So we started a trucking dispatching service and we made a lot of money really fast. Like
You made a lot of money really fast.
in 1 year we made $250,000 just dispatching trucks.
Wow.
Just dispatching 250, but we did it specifically in at the ports, which is intermodal loads, which is the ships that come in to the docks, and that's all we did was intermodal. And the reason why we got paid so much is because they're round trip. It's not just one way and then you have to look for
Right.
another. No, they get paid to go and come back, which is double the amount, and we
Right.
got a percentage. So if somebody got a $10,000 load, which is what we strive to help people get, we got 10% of that 10,000. So
So it's like
imagine
1,000 here, 1,000 there, 1,000 here, 1,000 here.
our first contract, which was on my last day of work. This is how God works. My last day of work, my first contract was 10 drivers. He had 10 trucks. And I was just like, this is God all the way, right?
Right.
We managed 10 trucks. We imagine 10 drivers getting $10,000 each load. I'm getting I couldn't
You're
even
getting
believe
10 grand.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, this is crazy. And then so we blew up there. Okay, so from there, God tells me to walk away from the business so that I can honor him with my body.
With your
Because
what?
with my body.
Mm.
So God tells me to walk away from it because we weren't getting married. He didn't desire marriage. I desire marriage. And then God tells me, I need you to honor me with your body. And now I'm just like, why? So I tell him about my conviction. He's like, I can't walk that out. And so then we break up. And then that business already started going downhill before all that happened, because what happened with the intermodal loads is that they started changing the laws, which made it harder for intermodal carriers to receive loads because they needed some type of workers' comp insurance, which most owner operators can't afford.
Right.
So it made it simple for like the larger companies to get those loads. And so
Right.
that wasn't sustainable. So then I was like, well, I want to learn how to do trading because I've always wanted to learn how to trade stocks since I've been in management. And I had money in my 401k, and I would just always wonder, like, how is this working? How is it
How can I
growing?
multiply it? So I'll give you a biblical verse or like a chapter that I love.
Okay.
So there's the parable of the three servants, right?
Mm-hmm.
One was given five, one
Mm-hmm.
was given two, and another one was given one.
Mm-hmm.
I read the New Living Translation, and the word they use was the one who was given five went and invested the five. The one
Mm.
who was given two went and put the money to work.
Right.
And then the one that was given one buried it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
for me, that was kind of like the insight I needed to start investing because I was like, hey,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you know, when you invest, you're literally being like that servant who was given the most and, excuse me, he was able to multiply it and he was given more. So that
Right.
was kind of like my trigger to say, like, hey, I really need to look into this more critically. But anyway, continue.
Right. So I completely agree. And there's so many different verses about how, um, for example, the Proverbs 31 woman, she was also a trader.
Mm,
It specifically says a verse talking about how she trades to make money to cover her household in
great.
Proverbs 31. So so trading is from back in the days, right? Like from the Old Testament till now. So I said, okay, this business is not doing well. How can we pivot, right? But
Hmm.
make just as much money as we're making now. And I knew that with stock, your money would grow exponentially. I just had no knowledge about trading stock. And I was just like, I'm going to have to really learn this. And so I did that. So I said, let's look into some trading programs that have some good reviews. And so I just started looking up a lot of different traders. I heard about option snipers, but then I was like, let's just keep doing some more research and let's, keep seeing. Then I heard about Terry Gioma and I saw that she had the #1 course. I started with option snipers because I liked their story. I felt like they were down to earth, relatable people, and that I could learn and grow from them. So I purchased their course and I just spent hours studying and studying. Just the same thing like what I did when I was getting out of debt. I just would break night, just learning because on top of me, like losing my job the first time, this time this business is going downhill. So it's just like puts fire in
Hmm.
me so that I can continue growing. So I just spent literally their curriculum. I think I did it in a week.
Oh,
I
wow.
had free time. I did their whole curriculum. That's why I would ask a lot of questions about the 9 EMA, about the break of the H, about the bear flag, the bull flag. I learned how to read charts really fast. And then as I was reading, I was also like just learning the Thinkorswim platform. So I'm learning, but I'm also applying it in the sim while
I
I'm learning.
remember when we were in Charlotte, I think you made $700
Real time.
while we were there together. And
Mm.
like, you were like, oh my God, I just traded spy, I made $700. And
And
like,
that
I was
was
like,
like,
wow, she's really excited about making $700.
that's right. That's right. It was, and that the first time I traded, because I was trading in my sim, I wasn't really trading. So that was my real first trade. And I never made 700. It was like 3 minutes. We
Yeah,
made like
like you were
7.
trying to reconcile, like, how did this happen? Right? Because
Right.
for some people, normally $700, that's probably what you make in a week, right?
Right.
Working a 9 to 5. And now you've made it in 3 minutes.
Right. So that was like a wake up for me. Like, this is the potential that trading stock has, you know?
So
Um,
I have a question for you.
mhm.
How much have you made in a day? Like the most amount you've made in a day trading?
About 13,000 in a day. but it wasn't with option snipers. The most I made with option snipers in a day was 3,000.
And how much have you lost the most in a day?
Woo! So I lost $25,000
In a day trading
in a
options?
day trading options.
Okay.
Yes.
So the reason why I asked you those two questions is for the listeners, I want you to really understand that trading has huge potential for you to make a lot of money.
Right.
But if you don't have rules, if you don't have a system, if you don't manage your risk, you can also lose a lot of money. So part of the trading game, and this is just from my perspective, I'm curious to hear yours, is you need to balance the skill of trading with the psychology, the mindset,
Right.
right? Dealing with your emotions, um, you know, and just removing ego from the table and really just looking at things logically. And remember, the market will always be open tomorrow,
Right.
right? So if you take a losing trade, sometimes it's good for you to walk away.
Mm-hmm.
Or sometimes if you're not seeing a proper setup, it's also fine not to trade, right? A lot
Right.
of the highly successful traders, people who are making 6, 7 figures a month, actually don't trade every single day.
That's right.
All right, cool. So I'm curious, for the 13,000, were you now applying Terry Ijioma's strategy, or like what strategy were you now
Right.
applying that gave you that big day?
So I was in Terry Egioma's. So I had taken Terry Egioma's course and she has an 8-week course. I took her course in March, and I was done in April. I
Right,
was I was that eager. What I really learned really well from her course that was different from option snipers was calculating my risk
right,
and knowing exactly when I need to get out because I knew my risk tolerance. So
right,
knowing my risk beforehand allowed me to really grow because now I'm managing how much I'm willing to lose in a day, right? And then when you're doing options, you have the potential to grow as much as you want in the day, right? Because
right.
depending on how much XPX, because I was trading XPX, on how much it moves in the day, then you can make a quick 5,000, 10,000. And when I made 13,000, I was like, wow, I did this, right? So I was just using the buyers and sellers levels. And the day I made 13,000, I was in on the bottom at the buy zone, and I bought just five XPX contracts, wrote it up until it got to the sell zone, sold it, and then I got back in because I knew it was going to come back down because it's like
So you
sometimes
wrote it
XPX.
twice.
Yes. So I made about 6,000 on the top, and then when I wrote it back down, back to the buyer's level, I made about 7,000 or 8,000. They take out the taxes, and then by the time it was all done, it was 13,000 in a day. And so doing that, I was able to be part of her 10K in a day club. And then I did it multiple times. So that's what.
So next time we meet up, you're buying drinks. You're the one who's buying drinks.
I'm buying the drinks. The drinks are on me.
Yeah.
So, but then even with that, I still lost a lot of money, even in Terry's course, because I wasn't being wise about how I was trading. So what really helped me was learning a strategy and like developing the strategy and making it my own. So
Right.
when I went to her masterminds, I learned how to do the vertical strategy. And then it wasn't her, somebody else taught it. But they show you the basics in the vertical. They just show you the basics. And then I took that and really honed in on it. And then I learned how to,
Master it. You refined it.
yes, I refined it, I mastered it. And then I also learned how to do separate orders in the system so that I can
And
go
this is on Think or Swim?
in Thinkorswim. Yeah.
Okay.
And so what I did when I started incurring a lot of losses from even Terry's course was I took a month off trading. I took a month off trading, and all I did was practice in my sin for a whole month. And once I really refined the vertical strategy, I promise you, I have witnesses. I had 30 days of consistent wins. 30
Wow.
days of consistent. Yes.
So you're also paying for dinner, not just the drinks.
So when I had the consistent wins and I just started posting it in Terry's community every day, every day, every day, every day, for 30 days, everybody started reaching out to me like, what are you doing? How do you do this? Blah, blah. And so I just started helping people within the community, became a community leader within
Oh,
Terry
wow.
Idioma's group. She was like, hey, I want to know if you want to be a leader. And I was just like, can I? Because I don't have the years of experience, even though the people with the
But you
years
have
of
the
experience.
recipe. What people want is the recipe, right?
Right, right. So,
If you've been cooking for 2 days, but you have the delicious recipe, people are buying your recipe, right?
right. And so what they said was when they reached out to me was, you're already doing the work. You're already helping the people. So can you lead? Can you be one of the leaders?
So are you still doing it now, or now you're doing your own thing?
I stopped being a leader literally just this week. I just
The pink slip! Another pink slip! But you're the one who gave the pink slip.
yeah. So
Awesome.
I stopped being a leader within her community just this week. But I started my own community in August.
Right,
So once I saw that other people within her community had consistent wins, I was just like, I know what I'm doing. And not only do I know what I'm doing, now they know what they're doing. They're seeing the wins. And I could do something with this.
right. Awesome.
So I
So,
created a course.
so for some of the people who are listening, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, they're listening to your story, they're hearing about your wins, but they might be like, hey, I really want to connect with her.
Okay.
How do they connect with you? How do they be part of your community? How do they learn your vertical strategy so that
Okay.
next time they're the ones who are buying drinks, saying, like, hey, I got it.
I got it.
I got it.
Can I share my screen?
I think so. Let me see.
All right. So you can find me on Instagram at Danesca_7 or Facebook, the same thing, Danesca_7. I'm also on YouTube. You can find me under Danesca Baez, or you can type in Waiting Makes You Whole, because that's about my whole journey of life. That's how you can find me. But this is about the 6-week course right here. What I teach is called the vertical credit spread strategy. So what a vertical is a high probability, low risk trade. So it is a higher probability that you could win your trade versus losing your trade. And
Right,
it's a low risk as well, meaning that you don't lose a lot of money doing this trade. There's a certain amount you can use, or a certain amount that you can put into the system that you're willing to lose at the end of the day if the trade goes against you. So on week 1, what I do, because I'm about to launch it again, so this is my 3rd cohort, and it's starting next week actually. So week 1, I'm teaching stock market terminology and the TD Ameritrade startup. So I'm teaching people how to start their first brokerage account in the first week, and I'm teaching stock market terminology. Week 2, I do charting information. So I'm just teaching them how they can find the buyers and sellers levels and how to even read the candles. So that's week 2. Week 3, I'm doing verticals defined. What is a vertical? How do you do your risk management? What is the calculation and your trading rules? I go over everything with them. And I'm doing this live on Zoom. So they have live access to me to ask me any type of questions. We could debunk any misunderstanding and give
right.
them all the clarity that they need. So week 4 is this Thinkorswim platform training. And what we do on week 4 is we just apply everything that we learned from week 1, 2, and 3. And we do practice trades and homework review. So we're just practicing, and then I do homework with them. Same thing on week 5. So it's 2 weeks of practice trades and homework. And then I also have a trading community that I put them into. So they get to be a part of my Telegram community where they can learn and trade together, and then put in their profit and losses, talk about their charts or their calculations, whatever they need to talk about. We do that in our Telegram community. And then week 6, they get one live trade with me, and they schedule it on my Calendly link. I send them the
Oh,
link.
wow.
Yes, sir. So they do one live trade with me, and then that's it. The program is over, and then I'm on to the next class.
That's amazing. So, guys, if you really want to take a look into it, you know, take the that step, right? Just take that step. Success loves speed. So
Yeah.
just be decisive and change your life. From someone who went from being a nurse, getting fired, and now she's having 5-figure days, and pretty soon I think she's most likely going to have a 6-figure day. You should definitely do that. And one of the things that I've learned, so I have a speaking program, right? I coach people how to public speak. My first client was a 2-time Olympic athlete. He literally DM'd me because he saw me speaking on stage, and I was like, hey, dude, I need you to mentor me to become a speaker. And at that time, I hadn't thought about creating a course to help people speak on stage. And I was asking him, I was like, why? He was like, dude, every Olympic athlete knows that if you want to be the best, you need a coach.
Right.
And having watched you on stage, you need to be my coach. So the message is true for you as you're watching as well. If you want to learn a skill that can change your life, and you can go into the market 5 days a week when it's open, and you're probably in the market an hour or less if you really know the setup you're looking for, and you can multiply money way more than your physical work can do, right? Working a 9 to 5, you need to have a coach. So seriously consider looking into her program. Her information is going to be below. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask her on Instagram so that you can kind of like have your questions answered. But if you've missed the cohort that she presented, just ask her when is the next cohort, and then just join. Because for me, options have given me options. Trading options have given me options, and I would love for other people to also enjoy the same. Any last words or pieces of advice you'd like to share with the community before we go?
Yes. Yes. So for people who are either in college or working their 9 to 5, I get a lot of people saying, I can't do this because I work a 9 to 5, or I'm in college and I'm so busy, I can't do this. Well, I've created this simple order. I call it the fill and chill order. It's already in Thinkorswim, but I called it fill and chill so that people can remember it well. And it's a simple strategy where you have 3 orders in one. You have your entry price, which is the amount that you need to fill the order. You have your profit target amount, which is how much you want to make in that day. And then you have your risk tolerance amount in case the trade does go against you.
So it's an OCO bracket?
Yes, it's an OCR. First trigger is OCO, but I call it fill and chill. So then you have your stop loss amount, which is your risk tolerance amount. In case it goes against you, this is how much you're willing to lose for the day. You don't even have to monitor. You do your technical analysis really quick. You get into your trade, and that's been the most successful for my hardworking individuals that are in my community, because since they know how to read it, the charts well, they're like, I'm going to get into this trade. They get in it quick. They make their money in like less than an hour, and then they're done. Off to the next
Yeah.
trade.
The I actually use the OCO bracket as well. But what I do is, instead of setting a profit target, I set a trailing stop.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
because then sometimes it can blow
Keep going.
past your profit target. So I don't want to leave money off the table. But
Right.
also, if you know, if you have a trailing stop,
Mm-hmm.
then the price goes up and then it comes down. You
Mm-hmm.
might not then actually lose any money, right? Because when
Right.
you're setting your stop loss at the bottom, you might
Mm-hmm.
miss that upward move that then comes and takes out
And
your stop loss.
And then that's the difference. Vertical trading is not the same as calls and puts. So it's a
Ah.
whole different type of trade. You see how in calls and puts, you're in that actual, I say you're in the candle, right?
Hmm.
Wherever price action is, that's where you want to be. In vertical trading, you're either below or above price action, and you're saying it's going to end the day either above here or it's going to end the day below here. So
Ah.
it's very different, and you have a certain amount that you're targeted to make in the day. But that's why I walk through calculations with people. How much do you actually want to make? Let's do the calculation.
So I might need to join your course and learn that.
And then there's a amount that you can only lose. You don't lose as much. You don't. And this is why I
Wow.
love verticals. You don't like today. Did you see the market today?
The market today was crazy.
It was the best day for a vertical because of that. Because it's up, down, up, down. All you need to know, what was the high of the day? What was the low of the day? You take your trade and you're done. You make your profit and you're done. And I know you know what I'm talking about because you're a trader. But to break this down to people that don't get it that's why I said, let's do a 6-week course.
Danesca, thank you so much for joining. And like I said, folks, definitely reach out to her.
Mm.
And I've seen her journey. I saw her from the beginning. I saw her getting jittery and excited for $700, not knowing that a few months down the line,
Mm-mm.
$700 is probably going to be like, oh, well, that's cute, right?
Mm-mm.
So I'm super happy to see your success,
Thank
and I
you.
can't wait to see what you're going to achieve. But the thing that really gets me excited is that you're now using your skill to change the lives for other people. So good job, and thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for having me.